Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
At Allo, we believe in the exceptional. From extraordinary whole home coverage to super fast speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Problem gambling affects millions of Americans daily, of all ages and walks of life. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
You did feel the need to cuss in this one. Yeah, you cannot be this mentally fragile. Act like you're a damned NCAA tournament team.
Listen, I'm not going to change the way I tweet.
Do you think Fred saw the tweet? Do you think Fred saw the tweet and called a timeout and they're like, Sorensen's upset? I got to get this.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? Happy Friday. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. Appreciate Nick stepping in for Strick. Appreciate Nick being there. Listen, I'll get to see him, so I get to give him a big hug. People always think that me and Nick go at, man, that's my boy. You know what I'm saying? So we spend a lot of time with each other. And Nick is an old soul, even though he's a young man, young strapping man, only 24 hours fresh of being 23 years old. But we are Old School, brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients and Butcher Shop. 2 Lincoln locations, 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill. And I have over a year streak of not messing up where their location's at. Now that's probably the jinx, right? It's the announcer jinx.
Hey, you got a weekend coming up, though, so you're good.
Actually, when me and Nick called Pius X against Northeast, I'd said something to the credit of one of the players, probably not Northeast because they weren't good, but then they end up missing. I think it was a free throw or something like that, and they went up and bricked it. So a la Nebraska on that one hoop against Indiana. But we are live at 1040 O Street, 11th and O Street if you want to be lazy. The text line is open. Plenty to go through. It was a big night in Big Ten basketball last night. Women's had a huge upset. It actually wasn't even an upset. That was a butt kicking. Mm-hmm. Indiana got after Iowa, got after Caitlin Clark. NFL news, which I think is very interesting. Obviously, they had an unprecedented $30 million bump in salary cap. Mm-hmm. Where were you at? And you know what it is? People don't know about the salary cap. We'll just stay in the NFL. There's 3 things to talk about in the NFL, Austin. Salary cap bump, 2 quarterbacks restructured their contracts, so they're going to be coming back and starting, and the salary cap relief, right? Yeah. So now you're getting good news. Now you got great news. The $30 million unprecedented salary cap bump in the positive for the players, everybody, don't think the owners did that.
No.
It's based on
Taylor Swift.
Well, it depends on who you ask. Everything's based on Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce or whatever. It's based on obviously the growth of the NFL, which is generally about 10 to 15%. Then you're looking like 10 million at the most. Well, it's you get the money back from when the money that you allocated during COVID when players were opting out finally hit back. What people didn't know, right? So when you opted out and say some guys decided to stay home, so forth and so on. That money hit the salary cap. So everybody got a little bit of bonus. And so $30 million, people so that means it should be even more movement, trades, restructuring. If I'm, you know, who one of the most happiest guys is about that?
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, but he already made, you know how much money he's made?
A lot.
Just guess.
Like 250 mil?
Close. 231 million. 11th of all time. Will probably be easily
Kirk.
Easily inside the top 10. But you know what happens when you have that? So you know who's really the most happiest right now?
Probably the next quarterback to get paid, right?
Nope.
Nope.
I'll give you one more guess. He has affiliation with me. He has affiliation with me by 23andMe, and he has affiliation with me by where we used to play. I used to play. Come on, Austin. Dang.
I should know.
Yes, you should.
I'm struggling, Jay.
Yeah, you're struggling. I'll come save you. Stephon Diggs. He's like a long distance cut, like a kid down there, right? But the reason why is he was going to be hard to trade based on, I think his cap number is like around 33 million, right? Woo. So it's kind of dollar for dollar. You could kind of keep him if you wanted to keep him and not have to restructure anything. Now you have more room if you trade him or if you sign him to a longer term deal here in Buffalo to spread it out, and it won't eat up that previously forecasted salary cap because they didn't know the $30 billion bump was going. But if you tried to trade him, now what people don't understand is if you do trade him and then they can fit a contract for him, let's say Dallas or Kansas City or somewhere like that, now you can ask for more. See, what people don't understand, you can't ask for a lot if they're taking a lot of risk. Now the risk is eliminated because now it's up to you to restructure him. Now it's your problem. Yeah. So if I'm Stephon Diggs, I just got a lot happier because listen, either I'm 1, 2, 3 Cancun. I might even go 4th down Dubai, all the different sayings because I'm not. I am not going anywhere close to an NFL facility until I get more paper. Now, did he earn it? I would say to Stephon Diggs' prior production, no. The lasting moment as we watch two people jaywalk. Look at him. Go ahead. That's what I'm saying. Look, the lady got some speed though. She got good. She got good short area quickness.
Rick Pitino, go get her.
Right? Yeah, you look like maybe a little shooting guard. But the thing about it is, to his normal production and standard, not so much. The lasting impression, and that's the hardest. The lasting impression is that 62-yard bomb that you drop. Right? That's what the GMs remember. That's what McDermott remembers. And then they start to get a clearer memory how you started the season, right? Show up at training camp. Prior, you're happy. Next thing you know, you have to have an emergency team meeting because you're mad at Josh Allen. You're mad at the GM for not signing DeAndre Hopkins. Then, therefore, it puts a bad cloud or a black cloud over the whole season. And then now, here you are when you need him the most. Now, granted, Josh Allen probably lost a little confidence in you. Because he probably should have hit you on the drag route, and then he missed the skinny post. Gabe Davis wasn't in there. That skinny post that was missed that should have been a touchdown, that's 100% on Josh Allen. That's a career-defining play by both players that weren't made. But Stephon Diggs, you set yourself up to be judged at a higher rate and more in depth based on some of your off-the-field action. So, he's happy, but ultimately there's a decision to be made, and it's got to be made up there in Buffalo before we get over to Minneapolis and Kirk Cousins.
I think about this for the NFL, Jay, the same way we had this between the 2015 and 16 seasons in the NBA. In 2015, the NBA salary cap was a flat $70 million.
Right.
2016 jumps to $94 million. There were some wild contracts being handed out to these mid-level guys. They were getting what was previously like star level money, right? Good for them, right? They timed their free agency out perfectly. Yeah. They got a little lucky. The other thing about the NBA is you can do sign and trades, right? So now these other teams, if they don't want to go through the hassle of negotiating, you can sign with the previous team. And I assume it's the same in the NFL where you can sign and then be traded,
right?
Yeah,
you can do that. Kind of like that we're going to, it's kind of like the draft, right? I'll draft and then you end up trading
the rights and whatnot. So I think there are a lot of free agents this year that are going to get probably what they would have deserved. They might have had to settle for less with a lesser salary cap. I think there are going to be more guys getting probably what their market value is. But I also guarantee that in another 5 years or so, when these contracts are done, we'll look back and say, holy cow, this dude should have never gotten that amount of money. He just timed his free agency perfectly.
It's kind of like there's a it's called the 520 podcast with Jeff Teague, right? And good player in college, starter most of the his beginning of his career, especially with Atlanta, and then had different stops. Minnesota. I was watched him, and I think he's just one of those guys that was a good player, but then he hit that max contract when he left Milwaukee. And wanted to go to Milwaukee from Atlanta because he had a sign and trade set up to go to Milwaukee. Then that was when Danny Ferry was the GM, hated him, and then Luol Deng and all that whole thing, which is crazy because they're both Dukies. But Danny Ferry got exiled from the league for it, rightfully so. But then that's how he got the max contract. Then he got doubled down in Minnesota, and that's how you have a lot of guys are able to take advantage of the system. And I said it yesterday. Same with college players. Get your money right now because times will become the changing. And that's the thing when you have that big bump, you'll see some guys that are just average players get paid. And a lot of times it's supply and demand. And if you need a running back or two and guys end up staying or retiring or whatever, then obviously your value goes up. If I'm Chris Jones, you picked up my option. I'll see you in training camp if you're lucky. I will miss games again because you know what? We won a Super Bowl and I was dominant, so I can do it again. Unless you want to trade me or get paid. If I'm Chris Jones, I'm willing to sit out to the 10th game. It's time for him to get paid.
Why the 10th game? Is that a magic number?
Because once you get all you need is 6 games to get vested. And it count. And then they can't hold. Then you will become a free agent. So if you say if you only play 3 games, then you essentially play 3 games for free.
Essentially doesn't count as like a year of service.
Year of service. So I would be willing to do that. Kind of like Dwayne Brown. Remember, from the Houston Texans, and next thing you know, he got traded, played 1 game against Seattle, then he got traded to Seattle. And then the bad part about Dwayne Brown is funny. He had to fly all the way back to Houston, then fly back to Seattle. That was a little FU by the Texans, by Bill O'Brien. Like, oh, you want to get traded? Okay.
Here you go.
Hey, here's that 6-hour flight. One more. We got a couple texts here. Dave in Fullerton said he just left the Mercado. Friendly staff as well. Barbecue this weekend. Awesome. Dave, if you are able to, take some pictures, send them in Monday. Latex Mallard from MySpace. That's funny. Follow close. What did he say?
He asked who has the best radio voice on the ticket, and I asked him who his pick would be.
He said Rico,
followed by you.
Oh, okay. I don't know. That's suspect. If you know anything about Rico and the thing that we were the story, I will never divulge it. I literally was crying about Rico today. I can't wait to see him. Poor little Rico.
He'll be back on Monday.
He'll be back on
Tuesday
Monday
at the latest.
And I will be sitting here waiting for him too, with open arms.
Teared up in laughter, thinking about it again.
Because every time I see him, I'm going to laugh about it. But anyways, we're going to take a quick break, come back, talk about some Big Ten basketball. Women's basketball, Caitlin Clark getting stifled. And then where Nebraska sits and what they possibly could do leading into the Big Ten tournament based on these last 4 games and the opportunity that is upon them at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time at PBA. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, expecting lots of sunshine. It will be breezy but mild. We'll see an afternoon high of around 59. Tonight, mainly clear skies and a light breeze with a low near 29. And tomorrow, more sunshine, again a little breezy. See a high around 65. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Allo, we believe in the exceptional. From extraordinary whole home coverage to super fast speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Nutrition Authority invites you to try Anarchy, which is an exciting free workout for athletes and fitness enthusiasts who want the most out of their workout. Anarchy can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Remember, when you want results, the solution is simple. Nutrition Authority. Stop in, call, or check us out at mynutritionauthority.com.
What do you think of when you hear the chocolate season? Artisan chocolates? Of course, they have the best chocolates this side of the Atlantic. Friendly neighborhood coffee shop? Yup, they're that too. A nationally recognized top-tier brunch spot. Waffle weekends, baby. And the place to grab a gift for literally any occasion? Everybody loves chocolate. See for yourself at the Chocolate Season, 40th and Old Cheney, or order ahead online at thechocolateseason.com.
Problem gambling affects millions of Americans daily, of all ages and walks of life. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Your child was embarrassed when you arrived at their basketball game. 75% of parents or guardians report current alcohol use. Drinking alcohol can cause harm to children and loved ones. By drinking less, your child will be excited to see you at their basketball game. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
You did feel the need to cuss in this one. Yeah, you cannot be this mentally fragile. Act like you're a damned NCAA tournament team.
Listen, I'm not going to change the way I tweet.
No,
Do
you're fine.
you think Fred
That's
saw
me.
the tweet? Do you think Fred saw the tweet and called a timeout and they're like, Sorensen's upset? I got to get this.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Second segment, Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, old school, diving into a little Big Ten action. Wasn't a lot of games last night, but they were impactful games, in my opinion, in basketball, both men's and women's. And obviously the headliner that we're going to start with is on the women's side. Iowa went on the road to Indiana and ran into a buzzsaw. And they got what I like to say is mollywopped. And not only did they lose, right? They got blown out, right? But then also Caitlin Clark was stifled. And the question I have for you, Austin, before we get into the game, right? You know, how stifled did Caitlin Clark really, or how stifling was the defense, considering that she was one, I think, assist away from, having a triple-double? Well, I'll lay it out to you here. 8 of 26 shooting and 3 of 16 for 3. That's a volume, I call it volume scorer, volume shooter at 24 points. That is a really good job on her. That means that they did a really good job of creating an environment where every shot that she had to take was tough. As we saw at Nebraska, maybe they always had her shooting it from long distance on the one side of the court that Nebraska couldn't, and Indiana couldn't hit. Men's couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. I want to ask you, Austin, considering how the game went, and even though it ended up being a 17-point victory, the game was never close, right?
Well, it was after the first quarter.
Yeah, but that's but considering after that, the game was over. And Caitlin Clark looked ordinary. She looked frustrated. She looked confused. I don't think she ever lacked for confidence. So with that being said, the job that they did, and they were throwing different defensive looks at her, different schemes, different body types. Body types for people listening. What I mean is, okay, you might have a same size guard. You might have a 6'2", 6'3", let's just say guard, forward, or center on a switch and not switch back. You might run some man on one side, zone on the other. They ran a little bit of box and one. They even ran a little bit of triangle too, which is like my age, way before your time. Those are
Jay. I literally ran triangle and two in high school.
Oh, well then that's
against Mount Michael,
and they deserve it.
They do.
They did
every last bit of it.
Before we get into it, here's what's funny. Me and you had the run-ins with Mount Michael. I didn't play against them. I was coaching against them, but we ran a box and one against them, and we ended up winning it. So Mount Michael, I'm telling you, you guys got one guy that can get on a heater, and I was in Austin's case too. You better figure out how to play against a box of one and triangle two, because now, as you're getting into districts, sub-districts, we drop the dime on you. We do kind of apologize, but not really.
Not really.
Back to this. Do you think this is possibly a game plan to play against Caitlin Clark? And then also to that, how to beat Iowa? Because even though Iowa lost, they're still a top 5 team and are the assumptive to be in the Final Four and possibly the championship game once again.
It's absolutely the game plan, but it's always easier said than done.
Right.
Because if you look at her night, right, 8 of 26, 3 of 16, you gave the stats, 5 of 8 from the free throw line. Also, a downturn for her. 1 assist shy of the triple-double, like you said, but 5 turnovers. Right, Jay? I think defending Caitlin Clark is, in theory, the same as defending any elite quarterback in the NFL, right? Vary your looks. Send different guys at him from angles you don't expect. Be physical. Hit him. Knock him down. Whatever you can do. Frustrate him. Get in their head. The game plan's the same, but where the great players become great players is sometimes they can transcend your game plan, right? Yeah. Caitlin Clark hasn't had many nights like this in her college career. Maybe she's had more than we give her credit for, but the fact that her highs have been so high, she bounces back from these types of games. So it works for Indiana, who has pieces, 1 through 8, 9 on their team. They're a deep team. They've been in the conversation for the last, handful of years in the Big Ten.
Right.
So Indiana was kind of building to this moment. So yes, the formula is absolutely make life tough for Caitlin Clark, but also at the same time, make sure her supporting cast doesn't go off. I mean, Martin was 7 for 16, under 50%. Stolke, 4 of 9, under 50%. Iowa as a team didn't shoot well from 3. I mean, 5 of 28 from 3. So it's very difficult to both stop Caitlin Clark, such as it is, and stop the other pieces. Indiana's one of probably, 4 or 5 teams that can do that to Iowa. But that's how you beat these great players, is you make them dominate the game solo. Basketball's still a team game. It always has been, always will be. It's always easier for someone to will, their way to a win in basketball playing 5-on-5, seemingly like 1-on-5, than football, where you can't win a game with one person.
Sure.
But at the same time, you kind of saw Indiana do to Iowa what Creighton did to UConn, right? Newton went off. He had a good game, had 27 on 21 shots.
Yeah.
But you want the shots and points to be as close as possible if you're a defense, right? Yeah, he scored 27, but that's less, barely over a point per shot. Yeah. That's not what you want.
Yeah. I think there's 2 ways to try. And listen, you can have the game. There's game plans out there to stop Jordan. There were. There's game plans out there to stop LeBron and Kobe and Shaq and all that, right? The hard thing about it is, 1, to execute it. Number 2 is having the right personnel that is willing to do it. And then also you have to handle your businesses yourself. And so,
to execute it for 40, 48 minutes.
Right. Because Iowa was a high pressure team. And you got to think, Indiana had more turnovers than Iowa. So it wasn't a game there where Iowa was out of their element, kind of like Nebraska against Ohio State. And we're going to get to that game too, because Ohio State went to Penn State and put everybody back on notice. And you know what about Ohio State? They're like a lion in the weeds. And they are
crouching in the brush, and you just like a warthog or something walking down there, and they just poor gazelle,
right, and destroy you. Here's the thing: You talk about body styles. You talk about personnel. When you look at Indiana, they start 4 guards and 1 forward. On their bench, 4 guards, 1 forward. So what you need is guard heavy against Caitlin Clark, because what you can do is you can switch everything. You can run her off the 3-point line. You can play closer to her. You can recover if you're trying to show and get back out to the guard one of Iowa's 3-point shooters. And if you have one person inside that's willing to rebound, along with your guards being athletic enough, physical enough to rebound as well, right? And you got to be extremely quick because Caitlin Clark's going to shoot some deep shots. What does deep shots give you? Deep or long rebound. So that's where now there's not a lot of teams that are built like that. So when you think of
even like look at Nebraska's matchup. I mean, Caitlin Clark is listed at 6 foot tall.
Right.
Slender, right? So she can be bumped off her spots a little bit. I think she's tougher than people want to give her credit for.
Oh, she's way tougher.
Yeah. She's tall enough, but not too tall necessarily.
So that's how she gives you problems.
Right. Nebraska's guards are all smaller.
Right.
You know, the ones that play consistently are all smaller than Caitlin Clark.
Right.
You can get away with that if you're going to, be up in her face pressuring the ball, but she's got such a good handle. It's actually tough to pressure her to some regards. You almost kind of want to get her in that Steph Curry mode where she's trying to throw some of those crazy passes. She feels like, hey, all the attention's on me. I have to get other people involved. That's when she'll turn the ball over, forcing it to other people more so than picking her pocket.
Yeah, and also what's allowed her to, in the past, do well against Nebraska is that's how she's able to kind of be a little bit over physical. See, where Indiana has a little bit taller and bigger guards, she can't do that. So that's her game plan's off, right? Just on that alone. But when you look at the other teams throughout the nation, right? That's why Ohio State was able to handle Caitlin Clark and beat Iowa, right? Because they're not a very big team, but they're quick and aggressive. Then you look at, we'll talk a little bit more about LSU, right? Their team. Angel Reese inside. They're a big team. Get him, pounded in there. South Carolina, notoriously big. That's how Iowa was able to give them the business, right? For the most part, because they were a big team. What do they do? Styles make fights, right? They'll give up 2 inside, but Caitlin Clark's going to cook you on the outside, where they had 3 giants inside, which is a hard matchup. But if they're not hitting their shots outside South Carolina, that's how they're able to sag off. And you saw where Caitlin Clark was disrespectful and waved the girl off and all that type of stuff. Well, South Carolina went to the transfer portal and the gym and remedied that. So now their inside presence becomes actually a positive and also a outlier for teams like Indiana, so forth and so on. But if you're trying to play Iowa, you better be guard heavy. That means you can handle the ball. That means you're going to put Caitlin Clark in a lot of switches as well. So not only on defense are you able to defend her by switching everything, you got to think on offense. You got to wear her out, right? And Indiana obviously has legit shooters, right? 9 of 21 on threes. You ain't waving nobody off. That's 43-something%. They're gonna shoot your lights out. And you got to think, all their threes came from their starters. All 9 threes came from their guards. That's who she has to guard. That's who her counterparts have to guard. Once you start hitting threes, people start talking in between defense possessions. The fingers start pointing at each other. I always say it's like turn the lights on. Cockroaches start scattering. Nobody knows who's playing defense. Then you got to try to come down on offense and match it. That's how you get a volume 24 points out of her versus a more efficient 30 points or 30 points or more.
I'm going to be curious to watch how Iowa's opponents handle her on the defensive end, because she's not a terrible defender. She's pretty opportunistic. She'll get some steals, but she also, I think, is still among the leaders in minutes played, if not lapping the field, which makes sense in her pursuit for the scoring title and how important she is to Iowa's team. But you kind of worry about by the end of a March Madness run, like a week off, I'm sure will help between, Selection Sunday or 5 days, whatever, before the tournament starts. But that's still a lot of miles, and she's played that basically since she was a freshman. She's coming up to the end of her career, and I know she's in good shape. She runs off a lot of screens, handles the ball a lot. But the more she's attacked on defense, the more she's knocked down. You're trying to hit her with every screen you can set, whether it's on the ball or off the ball. I mean, from playing football as long as you did, those hits, those miles add up.
Oh yeah, they do, and it's just look. Father Time is undefeated. But I think when you compared it to Steph Curry, well, what did Kyrie Irving do to Steph Curry? What happened? You make him play D. Remember when they were running like back screens.
And when he was
downs.
on Dellavedova,
right?
They ran Dellavedova off just on dummy action,
right? And but then what Kyrie was able to do that Dellavedova wasn't able to do was take him down in the post.
Mm-hmm. They tried to get Braun switched on,
right? And then it was a guaranteed 2 points. Now, Steph Curry has found ways to be more effective because you saw it when they had the series against Memphis, where he made the game-winning defensive play. But that's not his forte. And the reason why it's not his forte, because he doesn't have to. Why? Because he's the best shooter of all time. Caitlin Clark's the same. But if you can find a team like Indiana, like an Ohio State, that will wear you out, completely annihilate you with their speed, their toughness, and their quickness and their pressure, that's how you beat in Iowa. Now, you can't do that because you can have that game plan to do it, but don't have the personnel, or you don't have the stick-to-itiveness to do it, because sometimes you just say, okay, now I need to get a shot. You got to be able to you got to be willing to withstand a couple threes in your face with long-term, hopefully, satisfaction of wearing it out and so forth and so on.
It's an arrogant but humble approach at the same time. Arrogant enough to stick with it, humble enough to know she's going to get hers.
Ultimately, you got to get out of your feelings, right? Which is a hard thing to do. And the ultimate is have the patience to win. And that's, again, any way that you want to look at it, you got to have patience.
How underrated is patience in sports?
It's underrated in patience in life. How people are so impulsive, right? Oh, I don't get what I want, then throw your hands up, right? I mean, right? You see that all the time. We coach basketball, right? All right, I'm not on this team, so I'm gonna throw my hands up. Or do you have a little bit of patience to work at it, trust the process, then you get the first. So it is very underrated. It's underappreciated. If we're talking about Steph Curry, right? That if Mark Jackson and the Golden State Warriors, powers that be, didn't have patience, we're not talking about Steph Curry right now.
No.
If Michael Jordan didn't have patience himself of knowing that he possibly could be one of the best of all time, he probably leaves North Carolina a year early, or doesn't welcome being,
gets out of Chicago after they lose to Detroit.
Right. The patience, right? The patience, and also the courage and humility to go, Jerry Krause, say, I need some help. And then also get me the help, but I'll get better. The patience to get bigger and stronger. And what does that do? That changes his mentality, right? And even said it in the documentary. Once he started to get bigger, he started to become more confident. And you got to think, there's nobody more confident than Michael Jordan. Well, it wasn't always like that. It takes patience. I always say, sports is a relationship. You got to nurture it. You got to be patient. You're going to be let down. If you throw your hands up too quick, you're going to lose that relationship, and then you're going to lose out something prosperous, or, that you eventually get. I'm a perfect example of that. If Nebraska didn't have patience, listen, when I got here, I can't even tell you how many people, when I'd see them at the dorms, they're like, you play football? I'm like, yeah. Brother, I had no muscle, because so if you didn't have patience, and then guess what? You got to have the patience, but I had to put in the effort. I had to nurture it. So it's no different. And so that's the thing, like with you're thinking about going into a game, everything's a competition. You sometimes you're not going to win right away. And that's just the way life goes and sports goes. And that's what Indiana was able to do. That's what Ohio State was able to do. And that's what Nebraska women was able to do. Before we go to break, the Ohio State Buckeyes women's basketball team. Damn. Do you understand me? Listen, I watched that game, Austin. Okay. I was like, that's some pressure. When you ever see the intensity of pressure and you watch it on the TV, or you're watching it up in the stands, you're like, damn, I don't want none of that.
Yeah.
Listen, Penn State came out on fire. Not on fire, but all right, we're here. And then I'll say this. I went to the national championship game, Ohio State against Oregon football. Everybody has a breaking point. Now, I saw the breaking point because I'd been a part of it. I've seen it and I've done it. You know what I mean? I saw Penn State break. Listen, I'm not trying to dog the young ladies and stuff. But listen, there was a timeout and the teams walked past each other. And I think Ohio State may be a known. This is it. We got them.
Yeah.
The confidence, the swagger, they're dapping up, talking to each other. Penn State had what Dom Capers used to call, and look, when I be in a football game, I'm intense as all get out. When I heard him tell a player, "You got the losers lean," Dom Capers, I saw it with Penn State. They were like, "I don't want no more of this," because you know what they're doing? They're looking at the clock, right? Their heads are down. They're not really listening to the coaching that's coming from the assistant coaches. And next thing you know, they got obliterated. And they were, you know what? Penn State might not tell you. They were fine when that game got over because that relentless pressure, they started seeing ghosts. They came down, I remember, on the right side of the court. Their guard had it and threw it right to the stands. And we looked at the refs like it was a foul. Ref was like, no. You got touched by Casper the Ghost. A la my man, is it Sam Darnold for the Jets against Bill Belichick. So anyways, we're going to take a break. Come back. We're going to blow it. We're going to finish all these texts, or we're going to read the text line because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. That Nebraska
Good
education.
math,
yeah. Hey, come on, man.
Look
Give
at
me a break.
Look at you.
We're going to read.
You just recognize that 56 starts with 5.
Yes. And you know what? 5 + 6 is 11. And I don't know what that means, but I just said it anyways. I always try to trick myself to say like the numbers that I wore meant something. They ain't mean a damn thing. I just wanted something that looked cool. That's why I wore 56. Now 44 meant something. And I wish I was playing in the NFL
when 44.
When you know, now they can wear whatever.
Yeah.
That'd be great. But 56 I wore because of Lawrence Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
But here's a funny story. I'll tell you this before we go to break. Michael Barrow was one of my favorite linebackers growing up. I lied to his butt and told him I wore it because of him. And hey, here's the funny thing about it. His linebacker coach came in and coached me in Houston, Tom Olivadotti, and he's talking about Michael Barrow and was like, I think Michael Barrow was trying to get on the team and thought he was going to come in and start. He's like, yeah, Michael Barrow said you wore it 56 because of him. I was like, I lied to him. It's Lawrence Taylor all the way. Anyways, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. Michael Barrow, look, we do. Hey, man, don't come here with the big head. You ain't come and take my job, man. Come on, man. Listen, hey, I'm in here, But anyways, Jay Foreman and Austin Horman will be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havilah. This week's specials through February 27th is whole brisket for just $4.99 per pound and $1.50 off all nuts, including Treat Bake Shop and Twin Springs pecans. And don't forget about lunch on Fired Up Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, expecting lots of sunshine. It will be breezy but mild. We'll see an afternoon high of around 59. Tonight, mainly clear skies and a light breeze with a low near 29. And tomorrow, more sunshine, again a little breezy. See a high around 65. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
Nutrition Authority invites you to try Anarchy, which is an exciting free workout for athletes and fitness enthusiasts who want the most out of their workout. Anarchy can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Remember, when you want results, the solution is simple. Nutrition Authority. Stop in, call, or check us out at mynutritionauthority.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
At Allo, we believe in the exceptional. From extraordinary whole home coverage to super fast speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. It doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Problem gambling affects millions of Americans daily, of all ages and walks of life. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bottom of the 4 o'clock hour, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. We're up against the clock, but we're going to clear all these text messages or the text string or text message out. We're going to read them here. Unknown texter. Caitlin Clark's never going to win a championship playing like the new LeBron versus the old LeBron. Old LeBron was Stone Cold Killer. I think she's a Stone Cold Killer. I just think she's doesn't have the supporting cast that maybe she had last year. And people look, the more you play, the more you kind of, show your weaknesses, or Iowa shows their weaknesses. Caitlin Clark doesn't have any.
Is Caitlin Clark, relative to level, a better basketball player than Kemba Walker?
Well, here's the thing. Kemba Walker went on that run from the Big East tournament to the national championship. Caitlin Clark has done it since she's got at Iowa City. Mm-hmm. So I would say Caitlin Clark is, just based on resume. But that run Kemba Walker went on, that's legendary. That's why he's legend. And he did it in Madison Square Garden through the Big East tournament and a national championship.
The real Big East.
The real Big East. Yeah. It's kind of like my main man, Khalid Al-Amin, did.
There you go.
There you go. Mm-hmm. There he is, right? From Minnesota Stars. Yeah, Khalid, you my boy. Even though you had me on the bench, though, coming off, I was a sixth man.
Nah.
Yeah. But I was cool with it.
That to you.
No, I was cool with it. Yeah, John Thomas was a starting center, NBA lottery pick. My man, Bebop Walker, that went to Tulsa, 6'6", stringy, like kind of Stacey Augmon. You had Adrian, I call him AP Patman, right? Patterson. He was kind of like our big. He was like 6'4". He's in prison now, but Things change. Right? Colorado Mean was a starting point guard, and my man Sam Jacobson, who we call White Jordan. Well, listen, he went to the Lakers. Actually, I wasn't the sixth man. I lied. Devin George came off the bench, ended up playing for the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had my man Hakeem Walker, rest in peace. He had an unfortunate accident. He had a girlfriend that he was with. He got upset, punched through a window, hit his vein on his wrist, passed away. So I was the eighth man off the bench, and I was fine with it. Because you want to know why I was fine
rotation guy
here? Because I got cut the year before. I was on the second team. I was mad, and I was. Hey, my dad told me, he gave me the bit. I was mad, punching the car. First of all, he's like, "Listen, bro, you can't pay for this." Okay.
Stop punching the car.
Second of all, I told you to work on your left hand. You gave me the finger and blew me off. You're gonna start working on your left hand and getting, really start. But the next year I was focused.
On that left hand.
On everything, and I made the team, and everything worked out. I knew I was full-fledged a football player, but I still love basketball, and those guys were all great. Every single one of them were great, and I think that was the. Oh, and also we had Robert Mestis as well, who played at Miami of Ohio with your boy Wally Zerbiak. So we had some ballers.
Was that the team that faced Racine?
No, that was the year before when we got smacked. We played Racine the next year, and we gave them the business, and it was on like Racine, and we were 10 deep. And we had my man David Johnson, who was about 6'5". He ended up playing at Morehead State in Minnesota. So we had a great team, and so I was never okay with it, but they were basketball players. I was a basketball player, football player, playing basketball. Those guys made in the NBA. Every single one of them played pros. So I did not. And but it worked. But another text here. My man Ham and Beans. I like Ham and Beans. You can text in anytime. You're gonna get priority. He said, to this day, I hate Mount Michael's gym. I do too. I've never been there, but I hate Mount Michael's. Right. Gus Mohawk. There was a viral discussion online saying Texas in 2005 would have hung 40 and beat Nebraska. Negative. Vince Young would have not made it past the third quarter. 6'5"? No. We would have had, listen, we would have had a pool of our little scholarship checks, all $38, because we didn't get a scholarship check in December.
But you're turning down $600 for EA Sports. Okay, Jay, go on.
No, back then we weren't getting anything, right? We were getting we weren't even getting a free copy. But we would have pulled together our $38 scholarship checks, and there would have been a takeout order for Vince Young. I can guarantee you.
So did Greg Williams learn it from you?
No, his was a little bit more roguish. We were just been doing it just because we were savages. Unknown texter 6184. Iowa is short women, so they have to go under the pick and roll because they can't switch. Nebraska killed them on that. If a team is hitting J's, Iowa's in trouble. Also be physical with Clark. She hates it. Yes.
I disagree with the logic of the first point, though. Just because you're short doesn't mean you have to go under.
I don't like that either.
You can chase over top. You can step up.
I like you. I like you in the hip pocket. If he or she is going to the bathroom, I'm right there with you. Matter of fact, I'll open the door. Another unknown texter 8018. What do you think the Vikes will do with Justin Jefferson? Pay him or trade him? We'll get to that in a little bit, hopefully in the 5 o'clock hour before I head over there to Pius X. And you know what? I promised Nick that I was going to be in my best behavior. You know what? I
promise revoked. Fingers crossed.
Fingers were crossed. Shoes were untied. No, I'm about to show up off the chain, Nick. I hope you're listening. Get ready. We'll talk about that because I think that's tied to Kirk Cousins because Justin Jefferson said he is tied to Kirk Cousins. I have a sneaky trade that I'm going to announce at the 5 o'clock hour that I think is going to set the NFL. If I could be the guy that writes the script.
You can set it off?
Yeah. Culligan, man. Let's see what he say. Jay, you coached my son for a while, and I wish you were doing some training. You got an awesome basketball mind. Thank you. But you know what? My J wasn't Jaying. My J wasn't Jaying.
It's a lowercase J.
No, it was. Listen, you want to before we go to break. This is how I got noticed in basketball. Now I love basketball. I can play, but I was a football player, and these guys were hoopers. And long story short, when I first moved to Minneapolis or Minnesota, we played in the Christmas tournament. We played Minneapolis Washburn, and that's where all these guys played. And when I was at Eden Prairie, I was the only brother on the team. It was two of us, me and Quincy Lewis. We came in together. That's why we was tight. We was battling. You know what I mean? We got destroyed in the Christmas tournament. I cried for 30 minutes back home. This is probably 6th or 7th grade. So then it comes to AU time, 16, trying to make it. I make the team, but I make second. And, but then that's when I started playing football and started to kind of go to camps and do stuff like that. But the best thing for me was to get cut and make the second team because I got to play.
Mm.
So then I showed up the next year. They couldn't stop me from making the team, but everybody else got better. This is how I got noticed in basketball. We were playing in a national, quote unquote, national championship down in Arizona, and we're playing New York Riverside, and they were the team. And they, starters got in foul trouble. They weren't hitting.
Here comes Jay Foreman.
Hey,
Jay Foreman time.
What I got to lose, right? What I got to lose? Come in, got a steal, layup. Come down, bust a three. Oh, okay, this is on. First of all, they probably ain't scout me, he cool, this dude, slew-footed dude, knock knee. Well, here's what really happened. So, got it. They were running kind of like a little zone, or they might have been late in the rotation. I was on the left wing, got it, and the one dude overshot it, got it, hammered that bad boy out. Right, dude was like 60. Place went nuts. Next thing you know, I'm getting letters from Stanford, and all. They really thought I could play. I ran it all the way all to the thing, and wasn't worth the plum nickel. But anyways, we're going to take a break, come back, and Drew Carr, I'm going to give you some love. Ham and Beans, I'm going to give you some love at the top of 5 o'clock hour. Then I'm going to announce the trade, I wouldn't say of the century, but of the offseason, because of the $30 million cap that everybody got. Them owners, boy, they're making money interest on that right now.
Yeah.
Anyways, Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Healing the heart takes heart. Our dedicated team of cardiac experts is here for you with breakthrough treatments for serious conditions and expert advice for living longer with a healthier heart. We bring healing care to our community with over 90 cardiology specialists and subspecialists and more than 50 locations across Nebraska, Southwest Iowa, and Northern Kansas. Find out how we heal hearts with heart, starting with yours at chihealth.com/heart.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings. If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
How do people feel about getting Big Fitness Energy at Planet Fitness for $1 down and $10 a month? They feel as thrilled as a kid the first summer they're tall enough to ride the roller coaster! That's right. When you join Planet Fitness right now, you'll get access to tons of equipment and free fitness training in a clean and spacious club. Don't wait. Join the judgment-free zone today for that all-day energy. Download the free Planet Fitness app and join today for $1 down, $10 a month.
Deal ends soon.
See Home Club for details.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
This is Brad with Midwest Bank, proudly serving our Nebraska communities for over 70 years. We're a community bank, making local decisions, supporting local organizations, and helping local businesses and farms succeed. We are dedicated to serving our clients and helping them meet their financial needs with sound, innovative banking solutions. From an array of checking and deposit accounts, cash management services, to small business, real estate, and ag lending. We're here for you. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more at midwestbank.com. Member FDIC.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, Old School here. Brought you the new school way. DP is on the road down in Orlando. We have good weather here, but he posted 75 and sunny, so he's definitely a little jealous. But he's on the road with the Omaha Supernovas. They took an L last night, right?
A couple nights ago.
Yep. My bad.
Columbus.
Take on Orlando, I think, on Sunday, and then he'll be back, and then back on the road again. But we are sponsored by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients and Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill. We got a couple texts here. Drew Carr says this. Omaha Westland Prairie Wolves are playing in the conference title on Saturday. Let's get Lincoln to show up. Yes, I was there when they played in their, I guess, semifinal game. And I like you know what, Austin? I've been to Nebraska Westland twice to the basketball. I'd never been on their campus. Even when I was here.
Yeah.
I knew it existed.
Yeah.
But I'd never been there. Never even knew where it was at. Good thing for the phone. I like the campus, like the gym. I encourage you, I don't know, Drew Carr, if you could give us the details when the game is, let us know, and we'll definitely encourage people to show up because you want to support all Lincoln colleges, including Nebraska Westland. Hammond Bean says this. He says, oh, that's Austin. Sorry about that. The text line I'm terrible at. Anyways, unknown texter in reference to the trade that I haven't announced. This is a little bit of into it because they asked about Justin Jefferson. He said, let T. Higgins go, reunite Burrow, Chase, and Justin Jefferson at the Bengals. That would be pretty cool. That would be, boy, that AFC North would be tough as a defender. Drew Carr, 7 p.m., number 7, the 17th ranked team in the nation is Nebraska Westland, going for the conference title. Then I'm assuming that they go into their would be like tournament time to possibly go to the national championship. The present coach, I did read in their media release, has won a national championship, has won it several times. They got a good team. They're exciting brand of basketball. And also they have 4 or 5 local Lincoln kids. I know Drew Carter Glenn is there. Christian Wynn. They have a kid that was at East last year, and they have a senior that's a senior now that played at Southwest, some years ago. So to NFL here, my trade. Well, first I'll address the Vikings, what they should do with Justin Jefferson. I think they need to pay that man. Kirk Cousins has already told you in a roundabout way that he has already stolen enough from the league, and he is willing to take a hometown discount. Sign him. My man is coming off an injury. Probably won't get as much as you'd like in a trade. So if I was the Vikings, I would sign him to a Kirk Cousins / Vikings cap-friendly deal and not yank Justin Jefferson's chain anymore, because you don't want a disgruntled wide receiver a la Buffalo Bills, and pay him. Because you pay him now, you'll be fine because he's obviously earned it, or you would pay double later, or you end up losing him. And possibly, if you don't have a quarterback, you're going to lose him anyways.
Yeah.
And there's not too many quarterbacks that you can get the type of production that you can out of Justin Jefferson like you can Kirk Cousins, with assuming that he'll be back. Now, here's my trade. It has a little bit of Kirk Cousins going with it. Here's what I would do. This is me, right?
Are you playing from the Bills' perspective?
I'm just playing script. I'm writing the script.
Okay.
Here's the script. No, this ain't nothing with the Bills.
Okay.
Yeah. Chill out, Austin. This home team. I'm gonna keep Stephon Diggs there. Next thing I'm gonna go back to Buffalo, roll up on him at practice, say, bro, we family, and he'll be like, yeah, right. And then I'm gonna drop him on him.
Drop their seats.
And I was like, I got the slew feet. You didn't. Here's what I would do if I was John Lynch. Okay. I would call up the Vikings and say, we will trade you Brock Purdy for Kirk Cousins. Here's why.
Straight up?
Straight up. They're kind of the same player. It will help the Vikings out salary cap. Now, we need some picks and all that other stuff, right? Dice it up. You know what? We can get Daniil Hunter, right? Take a big salary cap off you. We'll sign him. He's more trustworthy than Chase Young. I still think they should bring Randy Gregory back, but that'll be probably at a little bit lower. But I think 3 pass rushers are better than 2, so you could get both of them. So I would trade them, maybe take some of that off you, and then you have Brock Purdy, right? Up-and-coming quarterback, 2 years left on his rookie deal. Make him play for it. He'll be in the mindset to prove it. Then it'll be up to you when you can get better parts around him, and you can sign Justin Jefferson back and obviously keep your quarterback at a low rate. Why does San Francisco need Kirk Cousins? Because they need to lessen the gap between Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes. That's the measuring stick, right? Kirk Cousins is it, and that's who Shanahan originally wanted. That's why he didn't work out Patrick Mahomes. That's why. If you know the tea leaves about it, right? They thought they were going to get Kirk Cousins. That didn't work. They didn't work out Patrick Mahomes because that's what he wanted. Now, you have time to let Kirk Cousins rehab because you got Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold had played pretty dang good. And you've shown the ability to draft a quarterback late or sign a kind of a street free agent to a cap-friendly deal and have your 3 quarterbacks. Because San Francisco has to try to cash in now. The gap between Brock Purdy and a healthy Kirk Cousins isn't as big as a gap between Kirk Cousins and Patrick Mahomes, considering the weapons that you have around you. Because Brock Purdy is shown against the blitz, it's not going to work. Kirk Cousins has, over history with McConnell, and then also with a coach like Shanahan, with the blitz, he'll do a lot better. That's the trade that I would do. It would send the NFL in a frenzy.
Oh, it absolutely would.
Yeah.
The only pushback I have here, because I love the theory, the idea, get where you're coming from. Kirk melts under the bright lights.
Right. But who else melts under the bright lights? Brock Purdy. But who's played better lately under the bright lights? Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has more weapons in San Francisco than Minnesota. You have the weapon in Minnesota, nothing else. You got rid of Dalvin.
You also had Dalvin for a couple of years.
You got rid of Dalvin.
Yeah, Hawkinson.
You do have
Hawkinson's
Hawkinson.
a weapon, Jay.
Yes, he is. I stand corrected. You got two weapons, but he got hurt. And your offensive line in San Francisco is a lot better than the Vikings.
That's saying something because San Francisco's O-line was
on the right.
They got
the right,
Trent Williams.
The right side is garbage.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to think they're going to address that. But see, if you get Kirk, you're getting a Pro Bowl legit veteran quarterback at a lesser pay rate.
Yeah.
And you're only going to get him for a couple of years. In a couple of years, you're going to have to break the bank for Brock Purdy. So then you're able to extend, the four horsemen: quarterback, Debo, George
McCaffrey.
Kittle, and McCaffrey. Look, it'll never happen. That's what I would do, though. Because I truly think they think in San Francisco that Brock Purdy isn't their guy. Why do I think that? Because they said publicly that if Tom Brady wanted to play, he ain't starting. 50 years old, Tom Brady. He's not 50, but I'm just saying. So that lets you know a guy that a year out of football, retired, moving into business, that if you wanted to play here, you're starting over Brock Purdy. What does that tell you? He's not that. Now, granted, Tom Brady's the greatest of all time. But what it's telling you, the move is they don't think you're that guy. And that's not fair because he's never really had a full year of starting except this year. But they feel like, okay, we have to play perfect around him. Now, I will say I will push back on that thinking because I think coaching is how they lost that game. But then they're thinking Tom Brady can overcome that. They don't think essentially what they're saying is Brock Purdy can't overcome them.
Yeah.
That's what they're telling you.
Right.
Yeah.
What if hypothetical alternative to your trade, Minnesota says, "Now we like Kirk. We're good. We're maybe not as sold as you are on Purdy." Is Ryan Tannehill on the free agent market an upgrade over Brock Purdy?
Oh no, I don't like Ryan Tannehill. But you know who I like? Justin
Kirk
Fields.
Cousins.
No. You know who I like?
Well, did Justin Fields be, hey, we missed on Trey Lance?
No,
try again?
Listen, Justin Fields in San Fran, he going to give him problems. He going to give the world problems. Oh, yeah. Because he can throw the deep ball, and he can get out there on the edges.
What if San Francisco brought in Belichick as DC and Fields as quarterback?
That ain't happening, but that'd be great. Belichick ain't coaching. Belichick's a head coach. He ain't doing that. But if they got Fields, I like it. Now, since you just led me right into it, before that, David from Renew, Addison isn't a weapon. He's not like Debo. And he's probably a little bit under Ayuk, but Addison is a weapon.
He's a 2.
Yeah. But when I'm saying this, it's not literally. What I'm saying is Kirk, it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade in head coach. It's upgrade in the organization. The defense is better. So everything is pushing to where you just need a little bit more better than Brock Purdy. And it's hard to say because I think Brock Purdy played good enough not to be the blame why they lost, but I don't think he played good enough when you needed him to win. Now, I will say play calling didn't help that because I felt like all of a sudden you went from running the ball up and down the field to say that kind of like Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. You got out of yourself. That's not a Brock Purdy problem. That's a play caller problem. Yet, I have yet to see Kyle Shanahan say I needed to call the game better. I don't think that ever happened, but I'd like to think so. So just not take it literally. Now, to my main man, Justin Fields. And I'm a big Justin Fields fan. You want to know why?
Because he's good?
Yeah, but number one, he was in that QB1 show. Oddly enough, when he was at Nebraska, or when he was at Ohio State, they came to play Nebraska. Called and got tickets to the game. And they put me up in this little special section. I sat right next to his dad. He's a big old dude, man. Yeah, he's a former police officer. He's a big old dude. Talked to him the whole game. Why did I get to talk to him the whole game? Because they were running through Nebraska like 10 through, what through a tin can. So I got to conversate with him. His dad's a pretty cool dude. And ever since then, I kind of pulled for him. I think he is kind of like David Carr, where you weren't given a fair shake. So now I think this is a great opportunity for him to take control of his career so he doesn't end up like these quarterbacks that they label as busts, right? Chicago Bears are a bust.
Yeah. Always have been with the quarterback position.
Forever. So you know why Caleb Williams doesn't want to go there, because you saw what they've done with Justin Fields. Now it comes to the question that we had on our rundown. Where would the best places be for Justin Fields to, I wouldn't say resurrect his career, just get a fair chance for the next 2 years to show you where he's at? He's already shown you, not this year, at the end of this year and all of last year, he's a weapon. But where can he actually go to be able to show it and then be appreciated?
I'll start with the San Fran idea, because I think they've had that conversation. There's no way they haven't had this conversation. But I almost wonder if they're going to get stuck in the, we know what we have in Brock Purdy, where Fields might be higher upside because of the dual threat ability and what he can do in Shanahan's system. But we know what we have. We can bank on 10% development from him, 5% development from Ayuk, and then in a note we're getting from the rest of the guys. I like the idea of him in Pittsburgh. I don't know if that's the best place for him to go. Pittsburgh, and Mike Tomlin specifically, hasn't developed a quarterback. Right, he was given Roethlisberger.
Yeah,
that's been the glaring hole for him. So if he wants to resurrect his career, I'm not sold on Pittsburgh, even if the idea on its face sounds good. I know Atlanta's been popular. I wouldn't have hated him in the Arthur Smith offense.
Yeah,
with Bajan to throw to, get him, Drake London and Kyle Pitts. I like the outline of that. I'm just not as sure about Atlanta anymore. So
because of the head coach?
Because of the head coach.
And who did they hire?
They got Raheem, didn't they?
Yes, but who's their offensive coordinator?
Let me look that up quick.
Well, while you look that up, and I would say that the two teams that you're hearing right now,
Zach Robinson.
Yeah, I don't know who he is. He's probably from the Rams. So actually, that gives me a little bit more confidence, right? Pittsburgh, because of what Mike Tomlin, I think this will be Mike Tomlin's, like, okay, this is a quarterback that I can roll with. I think they were kind of pressured into taking Pickett, as they kind of
hometown kid. Next door.
You've seen so much of him. You actually talked yourself into saying, actually, and to his defense, he didn't have the weapons that Roethlisberger had, right? You got to think, Roethlisberger had a borderline Hall of Fame tight end, Heath Miller, that nobody talks about. He had multiple running backs that played different roles. You had Antonio Brown when he was saying, you had everybody, Johnson, before he got a little bit out of his element. He had tons of guys, plus they were really rolling, and plus he played in the league forever. I think Pittsburgh would be a good spot, off the beaten path, a coach and a organization that will support you. The only thing that I worry about Pittsburgh is going there because you can trust Tomlin. The pressure's on for them to get more pieces around him. The thing that I worry about is the potential pressure of Tomlin being on a out of nowhere hot seat.
Yeah.
Now,
the Heat cranked up this year. We talked about it throughout the fall about how we didn't think it was right, but clearly someone was cranking up some heat somewhere.
Right. And now, but if Tomlin gets a new contract, I'm going there. I trust Pittsburgh a little bit more. The other place, I'd like Atlanta.
Okay.
I do, because of the weapons. They're all young. They need a quarterback. They got a pretty good offensive line led by left tackle Matthews. The defense is actually young and energetic, so that, it's kind of like the Rams. I think Zach Robinson, being a young coordinator and having Stafford would be good. It's kind of just a toss-up between Pittsburgh's offensive coordinator and Robinson. I like those two places right off the get-go, just because they're more established. And granted, he's going to be judged on two things: how different he looks, and then also wins. So those are the two places. Pittsburgh will win, and then also if he gets Atlanta, when it's actually could be your round robin year of winning the AFC South, right? Look, Carolina only got nothing. They can't do anything. Who knows what Tampa's going to do, right? Because they're a little bit older. No, that's the other team right there. Tampa. If they bring back Mike Evans, with him, I like it. I like Todd Bowles with them, right? Because the defense is always going to be there. I like the weapons they have. Little shaky on the offensive line. But I think the AFC South is pretty, and then New Orleans is not an option because they just signed Derek Carr back.
The other two teams that absolutely would not trade for him, but I would be curious to see how it went. The Rams, if he's going to sit in redshirt behind Stafford, potentially, in Cleveland. The Stefanski system.
Yeah. That would be, those two would be great fits. Justin Fields no way he should be wanting to go anywhere and sit, right? No. Because he's still one of the top 32 quarterbacks. He's even probably top 20, even with the stuff he had to deal with in Chicago. So, yes, those are perfect, and you're 100% right. And I like him right now better than Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun Watson is a shell of himself, and obviously whether it's rightfully earned from his off-the-field issues or just time off of not playing for a year and a half, that's just what happens. The game passes you by, and if you're not able to replicate that type of work, and then
congrats on the guaranteed money, though.
Yeah. Again, the agent, the time, salary cap, and the opportunity to go get a dummy, or go get paid off a dummy organization. So I like him to those two places. I'm thinking, Atlanta and Pittsburgh would be great for him. Tampa's a close third, but I think they've really welcomed and really appreciate Baker as long as the price tag doesn't become too high. You're always going to have that crazy trade, right? Whether it's Danny Dimes getting traded to Cleveland. Now all of a sudden New York needs a quarterback. Do they trade for Justin Jefferson as a stopgap? Does he really accept the trade? Those type of places, or do those type of trades. I could see Arizona, putting Pocket Hercules on notice and have the quote unquote quarterback competition. But if I'm Justin Fields and I'm talking to my agent, Pittsburgh, Atlanta are my two places. Tampa as well. You know what I'm saying? I would also say if the Vikings don't bring back Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields would be great there with O'Connell. It would be great, right? And they know a lot about him. I don't think they're going to trade within the division because Chicago's dumb, but
not that.
They're not that dumb.
Unless they are.
Well,
listen,
Kevin Warren used to work for the Vikings. That's when I first met him. Did a great job at the Vikings too.
Saw Justin Fields in the Big Ten,
and he has a good relationship with the Vikings. You could do him a solid. Highly doubtful, but you never know. We shall see. And you know what? Let's not take Tennessee out of it. Even though
they want Justin Fields more than Justin Fields wants them.
Right, but who knows? Now, I know they're pushing all the chips in on Will Levis.
I'm not sold on that one.
I'm not sold on, but they are. Because Tannehill's out of there. But I think those two places are the two places that I'm strongly encouraging my agent to get me to. Actually, I'm probably putting Atlanta number one. New start, new young energetic coach.
I think Justin Fields would fit the Raheem Morris profile too, who didn't have a good first stint. He gets a second crack at it. I think personality between those two, that they're stationed in their careers.
Same with Mike Tomlin. Is a Raheem Morris coaching tree guy. So I think you know what, for him, there's no wrong place. I think Atlanta is the best thing for him. All those guys are young. He could come in and establish himself as a true number one quarterback, and he's also from Atlanta, and he has a great support system that will keep him focused because he's not that type of guy. Yeah. So he is plenty of trouble. You can get into Chicago. He ain't done it yet. So anyways, we're going to take a quick break, come back. Got one more segment. Then I'm going to head over there to Pius X. If you see Nick Sainer at Pius X, give him a hug because I'm going to embarrass him again. And in the halls, I'm gonna have Nick take me to his favorite classroom. That's what I'm going to do.
Think Nick went to class?
Oh, yeah. Nick is an L to the 7. Anyways, if you know what that means, you can text that into the text line as well. Anyway, no, I'm just playing. Anyways, Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Haviland. This week's specials through February 27th is whole brisket for just $4.99 per pound and $1.50 off all nuts, including Treat Bake Shop and Twin Springs pecans. And don't forget about lunch on Fired Up Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now through February 25th, enjoy USDA Choice New York strips for just $5.88 per 8-ounce cut, fresh pork belly for $2.99 per pound, and for ticket listeners only, snow crab clusters for $8.99 per pound. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn. Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Hey guys, Jake Sorensen here from Early Break. The garage door at our house has been needing replacement for a couple years, and a few months ago, we finally did something about it. Steve's Garage Doors and Services was great through the whole process in providing options and also going to the next level to get a door that was approved by our HOA. And best of all, the removal of the old door and installation of the new door was done smoothly with no issues. Call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today at 402-480-2840.
Acres is bringing you the nation's largest indoor display of John Deere equipment and technology. Acres 2024 Ag and Turf Expo showcases everything from tillage and planting to application and harvest. We'll also offer the latest industry insights from ag professionals across the state. Join us at the Sandhills Global Event Center March 6th and 7th or Fauner Park March 21st and 22nd. Go to acres.com/expo24 for a complete schedule of speakers and activities.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
We're speaking to Husker baseball assistant Lance Harvell.
Seemed like there was a pretty heavy focus on the JUCO ranks this offseason. What went into the decision behind that approach?
There's something about junior college baseball. You know, if you've been through it, you know that life, what it's about. Number one, you gotta have a passion to play baseball. You gotta grind. These guys are tough. They're playing double headers, every time out. So you know kind of what you're getting.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We are back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman on your screen. You see Nick saying it over there to the left. Look, man, here's the deal. Listen, you don't know. See, like anytime after 8 a.m., nobody gets anything.
Nah.
Never. And now that we usually go 4 to 6, and we definitely don't get anything. Listen, I wish we got to play the cam we had. Came up to there. He said he showed us. He said we got something. Showed us. Listen here. Certified Piedmontese Mercado came down here with a presence of meats here. Look, I can't even talk. Listen, I'm so excited.
It's a grab box.
I love the grill, and this is the greatest Friday of all time. This is great. Nick has, what do you have over there?
I got beef kebabs. Woo. And there's going to be more where that came
We'll have
from.
you on air. Tell everybody who you are and how you just decided to bless us here at 1040 O Street.
My name is Mike Pugh.
Yeah.
I'm a longtime listener. I've been living in Lincoln for over 18 years now.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to you guys ever since you started.
Right.
I haven't been able to get down. I've been doing construction
Yeah.
for most of my life.
Right.
And I just got this job at Certified Piedmontese about a year ago.
Right.
I work in the production area in the warehouse.
Right.
I don't work at the Mercado, but
Right.
we're affiliated.
Mm-hmm.
But we as employees,
Right.
we get special perks and
Right.
stuff. We get boxes of meat
Right.
every 90 days or so. And I had a whole stockpile in my
Right.
freezer, and my wife's like, "You got to do something with this,"
Yeah.
And I
Big
was
shout
like-
out to your wife.
yeah, Gabby Depew.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like, "You got to do something with this, man. We're not going to eat all of it because I
Right.
got 2 kids,
Right.
and they don't specifically like a lot of
Right.
steak
Hey,
and stuff." But
you might be a busy man. I think you're getting a phone call.
yeah,
Yeah.
actually,
That-
I think this is my wife.
Yeah. She's like, wait, hey.
Check the segment. Tell her to hop on.
Yeah, hold on. Hello. Hello? Oh, I think sorry, hold on.
That's right. That's right. We
Yeah,
get.
that's all right. We got the dumb button.
This is MVP Mike out
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I mean,
That's who you are. You're
He's
MVP Mike.
trying to give us gifts.
You
while
talk about
balancing the marriage.
look, you come
he's
out
doing a
here.
lot.
Listen, we got beef.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
We got kebabs. We got sirloins.
New York strips.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, I'm on the ticket right now. I'll call you right back. Bye.
Yeah,
There it is.
I like that
Simple as
conversation.
that.
Listen,
Simple as
what
that.
hey, you know what the best part was? She's like, "What is that?" You know what? I'm not even asking.
If you don't know, you don't get to know.
Hey, listen.
Now I'm gonna be in trouble.
No, listen. We'll smooth it over.
Because you got rid of all the meat.
Listen, yeah, you got rid of all the meat. You say, "Honey, I gotta be late. I gotta get rid of the meat." But also, listen, you got to give her a big shout out for her to encourage you. Then you do it. Listen, man, you just made our weekend, man.
Yeah. Well, my wife, Gabby DePew, she's the love of my life. You know, we've been married 11 years coming up in August. We have 2 beautiful kids, Liam and Layla. But yeah, I just got out of construction last year, decided to go work at Certified Piedmontese, and they've treated me well. I love it there. The people are great. You know, the perks are great.
Right. The food's good. Great too.
And like I said, I've had the stockpile of meat in my freezer, and my wife said I got to do something with it. And I decided that you guys always talk about Mercado, everything like that.
Always.
And I don't think anyone really comes later on in the day to
you don't have to. Listen, we're here to confirm. You don't have to think it. They don't. So listen, you are always welcome.
Nice.
You know what's great is that me and Nick are about to go call a game at Lincoln Pius the 10th.
Yep.
And I wanted to get here before you left.
Look, I was about to jet. You know, when we were doing out there, we got one more segment. Saw you over there. I was like, hey, you know what's going on?
Yeah,
Showed the meat.
That's what I thought.
I walked through I walked through the lobby. I walked
Listen.
through the lobby. You guys were starting to walk in. I was hanging out in back. I walked through the lobby to get to my car to leave, and I see this man with a big box. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, what do we got here?
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Hey, he came out. The party's just getting started. Listen, the ultimate peace treaty, right? We have a ton of different people that are out there. Once you showed the meat, you can just come on in. Welcome. It's just like a dog when you want to go rob the house. Yeah, baloney. We're here because we love meat. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate the Mercado. The Mercado. Awesome. Listen, when you have a great company, you have great employees. We appreciate you coming down and blessing us with some meat. Listen, you and your wife and your 2 kids are always welcome 4 to 6.
Awesome,
and you only here's
we'll even root for the Seahawks for you.
Yes,
there we go.
You a diehard. Look, you got the green glasses.
I live up there. So
You got the green glasses. You got the hat. So we know you're in Seattle. We just were talking about Geno Smith getting re-up.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
so we aren't.
I'm happy about McDonald too.
Yeah, you like McDonald?
Yeah. I was hoping we get him when they release.
Look, just some interaction as well.
Yeah. So and you got old boy Grubb, right? He decided to stay up there. So yeah, good deal, man. We appreciate you, man. And this is hey, you can't get better than this, man. Listen. The only stipulations is you only come 4 to 6. That's the only
maybe 2 to 6.
2 to 6. Okay, we'll share it a little bit.
Right after work.
And in overtime, you only do like for Knicks. Whenever this is the 3 guys you got to deal with. DP as well. You know what I mean. You are our super fan. We appreciate it, man. And big shout out to you, your family, and the Mercado for sponsoring us and blessing us with some meat. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ready to upgrade your combine in 2024? The team at Landmark Implement is here to help find the right combine to fit your operations needs. Choose from 4.5% for up to 60 months or a 12-month interest waiver, followed by John Deere financial rates with approved credit through the end of February. When you purchased a pre-owned S or X Series combine from Landmark, know you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running. View our current inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
Acres is bringing you the nation's largest indoor display of John Deere equipment and technology. Acres 2024 Ag and Turf Expo showcases everything from tillage and planting to application and harvest. We'll also offer the latest industry insights from ag professionals across the state. Join us at the Sandhills Global Event Center March 6th and 7th or Fauner Park March 21st and 22nd. Go to acres.com/expo24 for a complete schedule of speakers and activities.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Sunday, February 25th versus the Orlando Valkyries at Addition Financial Arena in Orlando. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 1 p.m. with first serve at 2. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
A smoke-free environment is the only way to fully protect from the dangers of secondhand smoke. That's why smoke-free policies are so important to me. Whether it's in my car, apartment building, or when I'm dining outdoors, there's no place for secondhand smoke or e-cigarette aerosol. Breathe easier knowing the facts. Visit smokefree.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the defense of liberty for those accused and the pursuit of justice for those injured. Liberty Law Group's relentless trial attorneys specialize in criminal defense and personal injury law. We believe in treating every client with respect, compassion, and understanding. We know that navigating the legal system is stressful and overwhelming, but Liberty Law Group will carry that burden for you. When you're facing legal issues, make the right call. 877-42-LIBERTY. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Empower a life today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Change is only a conversation away when you choose to share your wisdom, time, and heart with a young mind. Together, we can craft a brighter future, one child at a time. Ignite a spark of hope and be someone's guiding light. Find out more about becoming a mentor by visiting teammates.org. Become a beacon of change by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Old School with DP&J.
Do you think it's too early to talk about Patrick Mahomes as the greatest of all time? You know, to be honest with you, I think he might be on ahead of the pace. It was definitely on pace, maybe ahead of the pace. I think right now everything that he does is going to get overblown, and I think people so quickly forgot the 20-year run of the Patriots. Not 5-6 years, 20-year run of Tom Brady and the Patriots.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to Old School with DP&J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back one final time here on Old School. It's just me, Austin Norman, finishing the show out. Nick and Jay on their way over to Lincoln Pius X. Again, Pius and Southeast District A6 final. Chance to punch a ticket to go to the state tournament. That game will have a 6:30 tip-off. Pre-game will start sometime between 6:15 and 6:20 from the Thunderdome. I don't know what you call the gym at Pius. If there are any Pius grads or attendees or parents, whoever, let me know. Does this Pius' gym have a name, a nickname that you call it? Anyways, that's kind of besides the point. Well, the main point is Nick and Jay are on their way to call a game there. In about 45 minutes or so. I'll wrap up the show with a look at some bracketology, right? We've been talking about it a little bit throughout the day, but the angle that I definitely want to make sure we hit more next week that we'll touch on here for a little bit today is who Nebraska men's basketball fans should be rooting against. Okay. With 4 games to go in the regular season, who are Nebraska basketball fans rooting against? The caveat, the disclaimer here is that obviously Nebraska's fate is in its own hands. Nebraska's fate is in its own hands. It wins out. It doesn't embarrass itself, fall flat on its face at the Big Ten Conference Tournament. Nebraska should be fine, right? Finish out the regular season with hopefully 4 wins. Jay Foreman's happy. Look at that. Look at that smile. He's excited about his certified Piedmontese Mercado beef. If you missed it, make sure you're on stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Also, big thanks to our friends at Allo for giving us channel 961. See, Jay's Pearly Whites. He is happy. He's got some certified Piedmontese beef. He is thrilled. It is grilling weather, too. So hopefully we get some pics from Jay on Instagram and Twitter about the damage he's doing. But back to Nebraska men's basketball. You always take help. You can't rely on it. You can't assume that you're going to get help, but you can also never turn it down, especially if you're in Nebraska standpoint where you're not a lock for the field at this point. According to anyone, you're still hovering on that last, the last 4 in, the last 4 buys sort of range. You take help. You absolutely don't turn it down in the standpoint. So who are you rooting against as a Nebraska men's basketball fan? This is based off of ESPN bracketology. The big old bracket matrix says Nebraska averages out to a 10 seed across all the different projections. So we'll look at the 7, 8, 9s, 10s, and evens, maybe the 11s here really quick. But the other 10s, according to Joey Brackett's Joe Lenardi at ESPN, Virginia in the ACC hasn't been vintage Virginia for a few years. Honestly, they've been just pretty meh. Got smoked by Wisconsin down in, I believe it was Fort Myers was their multi-team event. Not a lot of upper-level wins for Virginia. They've kind of been like Nebraska where they've racked up a lot of wins, but they don't have the upper-level, Purdue, Wisconsin style of win that Nebraska has. They do still have Duke on the schedule. So, hey, pat me on the back, root for Duke in that one, knock Virginia off or at least further down the bubble. You have Nevada out of the Mountain West. Guys, we are dangerously close to 6-bid Mountain West. The Mountain West could have as many bids in this year's NCAA men's basketball tournament as the Big Ten. It's a crazy thought most years, but the Mountain West is loaded. Nevada's been playing a little bit better as of late. They're on the 10 line. And then right on the 10 line with Nebraska, conference mate Northwestern. The metrics tend to like Northwestern just a little bit more than they do Nebraska right now, but they're 2 very comparable teams. Northwestern has a tougher end to their regular season than Nebraska does. So if Northwestern gets a big win, they'll probably boost them up to that upper 10, maybe lower 9 seed range. But if they lose those opportunities and Nebraska takes care of business, maybe you get a rematch with the Wildcats, a grudge match, really. It'd be a 3rd-time meeting between those 2 teams in the Big Ten tournament. There's a chance for Nebraska. So you're definitely rooting strongly against the Wildcats. The 7 seeds in those matchups, you have Washington State, who right now, on the low, 1st place in the Pac-12. Last night's game against Arizona was ridiculous. The Cougs went down to Tucson, played a back-and-forth battle with the Wildcats, and they won it on a 4-point play. Had a 74-71 deficit. They kick it to the left corner. Dude hits a 3, gets fouled. Kind of like Steph Curry against the Pelicans back in 2015. I want to say, I think it was their first or second title. First title. Eerily reminiscent, though, with the and 1-3. Steph's didn't get called, but he hits the free throw. And then in just a perfect, hilarious twist of irony and just humor, Caleb Love goes hero ball at the end of the game. Doesn't look for Pell Larson, doesn't look for Omar Ballo, doesn't look for Kylan Boswell. Nope, he goes one-on-one. And you might remember Armando Bacot's slip on the court against Kansas in the national championship game a couple of years ago. Caleb Love basically had that. His feet go out from underneath him. He travels, turnover, ball game over. Cougs win at 75-74. I kind of thought that was a team to root against, but it seems like they're in much better position than Nebraska right now with a huge road win over Arizona. You look at South Carolina in the 7 seed. Lamont Paris, their head coach, might be in the running for that Ohio State job. That's definitely a team to keep an eye on. Michigan State, sitting at a 7 seed right now. They'd be matched up with Virginia. Again, according to ESPN, Numbers love the Spartans there. They're going to get a higher seed than Nebraska. And, lost to Iowa aside, they have been playing some better basketball recently. So that's a team I don't think many people are going to want to face come tournament time. This ESPN bracket has Nebraska matched up with Florida. That's right, Florida, who is a more traditional kind of power basketball name, been on a bit of a downswing. Of course, their coach, Mike White, left Florida for Georgia. Interconference move, definitely less basketball tradition, maybe less pressure for Mike White there. But Florida made a really under-the-radar hire of Todd Golden, who coached at San Francisco, very analytically forward. And it took Florida, a year and a half to really, I think, get their bearings under Todd Golden. The Gators are better. Not a huge challenger, not a huge player in the SEC title race this year, but they're solid. That's a good team. It'd be a great first NCAA tournament win for Nebraska if that's how it shakes out. Taking a look at the 11s on the bottom half of the bracket, you have Seton Hall and Gonzaga in a play-in game, according to ESPN. Seton Hall, tough as nails under Shaheen Holloway. Gonzaga does not deserve to be in the field this year. Absolutely no shot. The Zags should make it. Wouldn't shock me if on name brand and name recognition, they do end up getting in. That win over Kentucky might have legitimately saved their NCAA tournament hopes. You look at South Florida, the automatic qualifier, potentially out of the American Conference. So you want them to either run the table and get that automatic bid, or you hope that it's someone like an SMU out of the American Conference that gets hot and wins that tournament, because I think Nebraska's resume would be better than, say, a South Florida's would be. You look up higher in the bracket, Indiana State. Right now, the automatic berth out of the Missouri Valley Conference. I don't know if their resume holds up enough to be an at-large team, but it might. Indiana State has been one of the best stories this year. Coach Schertz, his story, make sure you go find that, read about him somewhere online. Just an incredible journey for him. The Sycamores got ranked recently for the first time since Larry Bird was in college, and they then proceed to poop the bed and lose their first game as a ranked team. But Indiana State's a story. You talk about narrative and name brand. Indiana State has a little bit of pull, does have a little bit of cachet. And the other 11 seed is, funny enough, Grand Canyon. That's right, Grand Canyon out of the WAC. They're in pole position down there. Again, maybe not the strongest at-large resume, so Nebraska's hoping for them to win their conference tournament and, not have to be in competition with Grand Canyon. He's played some really good basketball for a couple of years under, give you a sec here, pretty famous name, has a very famous, March moment. Bryce Drew, the head coach down at Grand Canyon. That Grand Canyon team, funny enough, slated to be in Omaha, where Nebraska would also be slated to be. Quick look at the 8-9 matchups, Florida Atlantic and TCU. Florida Atlantic's metrics across the board are very similar to what they were last year. They're just playing a tougher schedule. They jumped up to a tougher conference in the American now. And of course, we know the Cinderella run that they made. It was a fluke. It all, had to work out right for them. Credit the Owls for being good and taking advantage of it last year. So just because the record might not be as good, just because they were ranked probably a little higher than they should have been in the preseason, don't necessarily write Florida Atlantic off, but they're a pretty safe team in the tournament now. TCU's had a couple big wins. They're a 9 seed. Nebraska probably won't catch the Horned Frogs, I wouldn't guess, but never say never. You look across the bracket, Oklahoma. The Sooners, I don't know if they got into the top 10, but they definitely got into the top 15 at some point this year. New Mexico under Richard Pitino down at a number 9 seed. They've been fading a little bit recently, but again, part of that potential 6-bid Mountain West Conference. Texas and Boise State. Texas does not feel like a tournament team to me. A team with Tyrese Hunter, with Max Asmus, the Oral Roberts transfer, probably should be better than it has been. For whatever reason, just hasn't clicked down there for Rodney Terry. So I'm curious to see if they remain in the field or if they drop a little further. Boise State, again, out of that Mountain West Conference. Utah State right now would be the automatic bid. Danny Sprinkle probably going to end up being your coach of the year in his first year there with the Aggies. And then Mississippi State, a little bit on the rise, according to Lunardi, up from a 10 to a 9. Haven't done a whole lot of digging on Mississippi State, but that's a program that has been around the fringes of this conversation, has been in the NCAA tournament somewhat recently. We know about Nebraska's NIT run-in with them going down to Stark Vegas and the preseason exhibition down there as well. So those are the teams I think you're really rooting against if you're in Nebraska. And just a quick look at the 12 seeds since we have a couple minutes here. Richmond, the automatic qualifier out of the A10. Okay, that's a 1-bid league this year. Providence and Texas A&M. Providence feels more like a tournament team than Texas does, but obviously the resume doesn't bear that out. In Texas A&M, I don't want anyone to miss this. Texas A&M projected in the field as a play-in 12 seed right now was the preseason pick to win the SEC. Texas A&M, preseason pick to win the SEC. I wasn't buying it. My SEC buddies weren't necessarily buying it. They might have, SEC Player of the Year in Wade Taylor. Buzz Williams is definitely building Texas A&M up, but to see them go all the way from, being picked to win the SEC to a 12 seed would be quite a fall for them. The other half of the bracket with the 12 seeds would be Samford, automatic qualifier, and then McNeese State. Been a good day here on the radio. Had a great time on the happy hour with Nick filling in for Rico. Don't forget, we do have Supernovas action on Sunday. I believe that's a 5:30 first serve, 5:30 pregame. Pretty sure it's first serve at 5:30. Double check me on that, but either way, make sure you're tuned in to the full ticket weekends on Sunday. You won't miss it if you just keep it tuned to 93.7 The Ticket. Good stuff during On the Block. All we did was just guys naming dudes. It was fun. I went through some Husker basketball names, Husker baseball names, a couple Husker football names in there as well. Some of those sliding doors moments, for Husker athletics that live rent-free in your brain. And then heck of a time on Old School here. The hour and a half or so went by really quick. Huge thanks, MVP Mike. That's what we're calling you, from Certified Piedmontese. They partner with the Mercado, who, of course, sponsors Old School. For Nick, for Jay, for MVP Mike, I'm Austin. It's been a blast. We'll talk to you tomorrow for Ticket Weekends on Sunday. I'll be back with you on Monday. Have a good weekend.
$93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.